Change is hard. Believing in yourself is hard. But if you're not happy, why stay that way? Welcome to my show, Resetting Your Life. My name is Ned Lips. I'm the author of Reset, a story about Sarah's journey from hell to hero, from fearful to utterly fearless, in a world where everything man-made has been removed from the face of the earth. And First Steps, in which Sarah escapes from her brutal, abusive marriage, narrowly getting away with her life and her 2 daughters. My third book, Entwined, continues Sarah's journey to trust and to love as she moves the family forward in a world dominated by pure nature. You can find them on Amazon by searching Ned Lips, Nedlips, or through my website, nedlips.com. No matter where you are in your life, you can reset your life to follow your heart and passions to joy. Normally, people have to reach rock bottom before they will stop doing whatever it is that's ruining their lives and try to find happiness. You do not have to be addicted to something to be unhappy with your life. But if your life is without joy, you will manage to ruin it, whatever you're doing. You do not have to get to the point where you've lost your job, your marriage, and your loved ones, and ruined your relationship with your family and friends to decide to reset your life. If you're unhappy in a joyless world, decide to change now. While you have loved ones to support you and resources to rely upon. Do it while you have time and can do it slowly and deliberately rather than desperately, as I did. When you decide to change your life and follow your dreams, to follow what you know is right for you in your heart of hearts, you, as Sarah does in Reset, will battle a storm from within you and from those around you. It will happen. Self-doubt, fear, anger, your past perceived failures will attack you from inside. Those who love you but don't understand will attack you from the outside. Those who need you to stay where you are and do your job will come down on you the hardest. If you do it now, you can do it slowly and bring your loved ones along with you, leaving the haters behind. So do it now. What will motivate you to step up and step out to follow your path? That path you know in your heart of hearts is the right one for you. For Sarah, it is, as it always is, the love and protection of her 2 girls. On page 13, the storm around her makes a fatal mistake as it battles for her soul.
She heard the storm laugh as it played its trump card. "You're a horrible mother. You're ruining their lives." Robert screamed into her face, spitting bourbon, echoing laughter through the nothingness. Sarah felt her girls, their love for her. She'd sacrificed everything for them. She was a great mother. Her soul was incensed and rose from the horror with the power of the elephant. The horse reared up on his hind legs, the storm directly in her sights. The white light and her animals leaped into her spirit. "I love my girls!" She screamed back, bellowing with a resonant energy she did not know she possessed, echoing deep into the chaos. "You're the deviant! You will never get near them again!"
To make a dramatic change, to truly reset your life, we often have to focus on some critical part of our lives that will drive and motivate us. For Sarah, it's always been the safety of her daughters. In First Steps, Robert, her husband, has beaten her and abused her and her 2 girls. She felt trapped in the marriage. Robert's family was her girl's only family. It was her only family. She was an orphan, she's penniless, and he's rich. If she changed things, she could lose it all. But everyone has a limit, and Sarah had hers.
He gazed up their elegant stairway, now dark and hollow. He was holding onto the polished oak rail and finial with both hands. He was close to bellowing her name again, but stopped. Will he head up there? What would he do when he can't find me? My girls. She prepared to pounce if he began to head upstairs, if he approached their doors. She'd protect them, but it would mean a long, difficult battle for her. Please go into the study, please. He just stared up into the darkness. Then, like a moth drawn to a flame, he turned and headed toward the light, stumbling from the railing to the wall until he could grab the doorframe. Robert steadied himself, lost his balance, an awkward step backward in her direction. "Don't fall." She pulled back from the chair into the shadows. Robert then righted himself once more and took a step into the study, then another. Sarah closed her eyes and took a breath. "Quiet like a hunter, Sarah. You can do this." Her heart pounded in her chest as she crept from the shadows, sliding around the wall, back against the front door bathed in the light, along it, silent as a cat, then back within the shadows of the wall beside his study. He wavered in place, searching the study. As she crept closer, he grabbed a bottle from the file cabinet drawer to his right, opened it, and took a long drink. He took another step, one hand on top of the cabinet. She could see his addled mind trying to determine how to navigate to some other object for support. He took another swig. He let go and took one feeble step. "Now!" "Robert!" Sarah jumped into the light at the door of the study behind him. "What?" was all Robert could say as he turned around to face her. "You whore!" He slapped her, harder than she'd been prepared for, across her face with his right hand. It shocked her, but she retained a strong footing. "You bitch!" The swing staggered him as well. He took a step back, regained his balance. "Where's my dinner?" His body rocked toward her, his right hand raised to strike, just the window she was looking for. For the first time in their marriage, she used every pound of leverage her 5-foot, 8-inch athletic frame could generate, from her powerful legs through her sinewy right arm, to drive the heel of her hand deep into and through his shocked face, wishing it was possible to carry through the back of his head.
I hope your life is not as dangerous as Sarah's, but I know that some people's lives are. But I know plenty of people whose lives are much better. Don't wait until you ruin yours or you find yourself in that disaster to start over. What in your life will motivate you to reset your life? If you're unhappy, is it your spouse, your children, family, money, satisfaction, depression, alcoholism, or some other addiction or illness, or a myriad of other things that make your life sad, joyless, or just sort of good enough? Find it, use it, build on it. Get your allies to get behind you, but do it in a positive way. I was at a low point in my life, but my life was good enough. I'm intelligent enough. I can make money. I had a wonderful wife, 2 grown and powerful daughters, and a good support group of family and friends. I was good enough, but I wasn't happy. I was going through the motions, going from one job to the next, doing what I was supposed to do, never what I truly wanted to do, which was to write. How crazy risky is doing that? It's hard to decide to go from good to great, but it's way easier to do it that way. Some of the people I know who have reset their lives did so when they could do it slowly, methodically, and effectively. That is the way to reset your life, when you can, before you lose everything. One of my friends had built a strong company, but he came to me and he was unhappy. I helped him sell his business to his business partner and then buy a bait and tackle on Kentucky Lake because fishing was his deepest passion. And so rather than allowing his depression to anger his partner, ruin his relationship with his wife, the love of his life, and his children, he lives his passion in total joy. But he did it slowly and when he could afford to. I worked with a friend who'd done okay in a big company, but had risen as far as he was ever going to rise. He was bored out of his skull and hated what he was doing. He had a whatnot wife, a couple of high school kids who'd be off to college soon, nice house and a yard, and life was, from the perspective of the outside world, good enough. He followed the path of the American dream to life in suburbia. But he was personally miserable. After we talked through his true passions, what his superpowers really were and could be, how he could become best in the world at that, we figured out how he could make money doing what he loved, and he built his new world while he still worked at the corporation. And when his new life was ready, he quit, and he has been happy following his passions ever since. If you're unhappy, you have to make a change. I'm going to suggest that baby steps along this path makes the most sense. But you have to be in a situation where you can take that time, that you're not desperate. Start to figure out what you love in your life. What brings you joy? Personally, internally, not your kids or your grandkids. Listen to your heart of hearts and do what you know is right for you. Quit things in your life that you know are not right for you. One step at a time is the best way to do this anyway. So I want to really thank my guest today, Karen Tucker. She is my editor. She is the most wonderfully and talented and supremely patient woman I have ever worked with. She's with Comic Queen Editing. She not only makes me a better writer, but she also bears with my immeasurable number of idiosyncrasies, annoying bad habits, and demands on her time, which are a lot. She's been with me throughout this crazy adventure, and there's no way that all these books happen without her in my professional world. So I really want to thank Karen so much for being on with me and being part of my team. Thank you so much, Karen.
You're welcome. I'm glad to join you.
So Karen started on my journey, I guess it just seems like it was a little over maybe a year and a couple months ago, summer of 2018. Right. And we were trying to get Reset published. And it was my first book. And I'm sure when Karen first got it, though I'd been through several rewrites and different things, she could tell it was my first book. So she was wonderful in helping me get it to this point. More than just shepherding me through that process, she really helped me become a better writer. So, Karen, what made you decide to be an editor, and how long ago did that start?
Well, the biggest thing that made me decide to be an editor is because I decided I actually didn't like writing, if you can believe that. Because a way long time ago, I thought I was going to be a writer. But as I got older, and I feel like some people, that's us people that more are wanting to follow rules, right, just don't like to lose some of that creativity that you have as a kid. At least that's what happened to me.
Oh, okay.
I decided I was maybe better at fixing other people's writing. My editing journey started in college, really high school, but more so college, that I was a copy editor on the school newspaper, and pretty much looked for editing jobs out of school. But I, fell into a pattern of editing some pretty dry and boring stuff, computer manuals, medical editing for also for students. And it was, it was something to do. I could work from home, which was awesome. I think 2005 was the first year that I edited a book for somebody, and they were wanting to just self-publish. He was a consultant and speaker, and he wanted something to bring with him to his seminars, and so I did his book. And then, let's see, what year is this now? It's 2019. Right. So about 5 years ago, he recommended me to somebody else who was doing something similar. And working on a book again 5 years ago, I was like, man, I really like doing this. This is so much more interesting than what I'm doing right now. And I started going to the St. Louis Publishers meeting so I could learn more about the publishing, and meeting some people that needed editors.
Like me?
Like you. And I just started building that base slowly at first. But now I'm so busy, I have to tell people, I might not get to your book for a month or so.
One of the risks I took of having Karen on, but I have her on because she's wonderful. I want her all the time. because I write a lot. And I hate it when she's busy with somebody else's work. I get a little jealous, I think.
Yes.
So what is it about editing a novel or another kind of, a book that really turns you on?
Well, there's story there. There's something
Right.
very interesting. As I said, I like to say I'm not a writer, but I've had other clients tell me, well, yes, you are. You wrote this and you wrote this. I like trying to turn a sentence that might be a little boring into something interesting, into
She
something
never has to do that with me.
Sometimes I have that, way back, I think in grade school, I learned, at least by junior high, that you shouldn't start a sentence with "there is." I might have a few of those I take out of your books.
Nuh-uh. Anyway, so most writers like me, so I'm the opposite, right? I have the story in my head. I can see what's happening when I'm in the reset world and in the new book. When I'm in that world, I'm writing what the characters are doing. And my expertise is not in whether to start a sentence with "there is" or whatever. And there's a lot of other things that she bears with me that make my work better. So Karen is amazing at, and of course we've gotten to know each other. But what I love most about her is she tells me the truth, right? She tells me what I need to hear and not what I want to hear, which I think is absolutely wonderful. Do you do that with everybody?
I think sometimes I can't stop myself.
Well, no, you shouldn't stop
I
yourself.
I try to be tactful, but actually most of the, whether they really want to hear it or not, most of my authors ask for honesty and,
right.
What do you think? Sometimes it's a really hard thing for me to do when I'm not real thrilled with a book, to be honest. They're either going to want to make the book better, and I had somebody rewrite major plot points before,
right.
that they want to make the book better and they listen, or that's not what they're looking for and they might move on to somebody else. And if that's what's going to happen, then that's what's meant to happen.
Right. When we were doing Entwined, the first version of that book was wrong. Just wrong. And Karen pointed it out.
It wasn't completely wrong. It just felt like a waiting station,
right.
like we're just kind of, well, okay, let's get to the next one then.
Right. So that book was rearranged and rewritten and added to and subtracted from, and sometimes, as in that book and in, quite honestly, in Reset, really cool scenes that I like had to be taken out, and they may appear somewhere in a later book if they ever fit. And that's something that Karen's been really good at. I am totally willing to get that. And I love that she tells me this doesn't fit or this doesn't flow or that kind of thing. How much pleasure and joy do you get out of when we put this book into final form and it goes out there and people see it?
I'm so happy. There's always so much relief.
Partly because she's done working with me. No, but yeah, because the next book's already there.
It is. It's a very rewarding experience, and I don't know if I could be as excited as you are to see it, but I am pretty darn excited to see, and I want to hold it in my hand.
Right.
Right? Didn't I grab one out of your hand at the first steps when I saw you? I'm like, okay, is this mine?
Right.
Because, when it comes down to it, and a lot of this actually you hint at, or even not so much hint at in Reset, is the fact that human beings are meant to create things.
Right.
And so much of our world these days, whether it's because it's digitized or they always say we're more of a service economy now, that we don't make things anymore. And being in a creative sort of field, or being somebody who's an editor, who for a lot of, the other stuff that I do, I see it come through my computer and I make changes to it, and then I might not ever see it again.
Right.
But then these books that I can hold and I can show people, and my mom loves to see my name in the acknowledgments.
Right.
So thank you for that, Ned.
Sure.
It's neat that, okay, I had a hand in creating this book and this piece of art.
You obviously, those of you in the audience can obviously hear the passion in her voice and how excited she is about what she does and where her superpowers really lie once she explored the world. And that's what I want all of you to find, is that moment when you have that kind of joy when you've accomplished something. Karen, we're out of time. Thank you so much for being on. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much, and have a good one. Thank you very much for watching my video podcast, Resetting Your Life. Please subscribe to my channel by clicking on the little button and the bell so that you will be notified when the next episode is posted. Tell all your friends, relatives, and countrymen, and share to your social media if you'd be so kind. I'm told I'm supposed to ask all of you to do that for me. I'd love to have you like my Facebook page, Ned Lips Author, to keep up with my blog posts and writing endeavors. You can read the text of my portion of this program and find more at my blog. You can only get the interviews here, though. Sorry about that. You can find all of my books at my Amazon author page. Please follow me by clicking the button. And after you've read any of my books or listened to them on Audible, please post a review. Thank you again, and I wish you a wonderful life as you explore your passions, exploit your superpowers, and find your joy.